country. So that is our strength, livestock. The cattle belongs to the north. The sheep, goat belongs to the south. It is the same thing with irrigation. If you look at our irrigation system, we have the best opportunity that started with the River Basin Development Authority before the corruption crept in. Now we are talking of Fadama this, Fadama that. Before Fadama, Nigeria had a very solid structure for irrigation landscape. And if Israel that do not have it will be having the best drip irrigation system in the whole world. I pray that we step up now and emancipate the rural community. The major critical point for the rural environment, rural family, is the infrastructural deficit. If the infrastructures are there, all of us will want to stay in the rural environment. And that is why my own solution is that as professionals, we need to actually go back to the rural environment ourselves. And I'm using cassava as a case study. If you take cassava as a business, you are going to have opportunity of making more money. It is not a joke that we are the largest producer in the whole world. But it is a joke that we are not producing the best yield in the whole world. And this is an area we will be able to target the world market. The world market for cassava needs flour and starch, and also chips and pellets. Almost 20 million tons required. But if you look at the 10 importers in the world, Nigeria is not here. China is leading. Thailand is the next. If you look at the export opportunities in the world, the global world leading exporters, it is Thailand and Vietnam. When I visited Thailand and Vietnam, I found out that the rural environment actually have all these industries. In fact, Brazil did this such that the water, electricity, roads, everything, they got low. And they developed all the rural environment. There's no borrow. It is purely government electricity and water supply. But they were charging tariff and small tariff for many years so that they will be able to pay back the loan. In Brazil, when we visited Brazil in 2005. If you look at the different products that is required in the world market, cassava starch is number one. Unfortunately, they are being delivered from India, Brazil, Indonesia, Thailand, and China. All the areas where you will see cassava are in the rural environment. They call it country home. Now, when you look again at which of those countries are actually buying different types of the starch, starch in the whole world. But when you look at Nigeria, the red is the imported starch and the blue is the local starch. Our starch, majorly from cassava, is being used for mosquito coil, yogurt, laundry, oil, pharmaceutical industries, textile industry, paper, beverages, even Maggi Q. And that's why Next PSC now is looking for nothing less than 10,000 tons of cassava starch in the year, edible one. Yet, all the industry we have, large-scale industries, Sotri is in Adu-Awaye, is in a village, Taifam is in Ososa, is more or less Perioba, Allied Atlantic is in Igbesa, in Ogun State, And I visited Kresago in Kogi State now and Unike ethanol plant in Kogi State. They are all in the rural environment. And it has implication of road network. It has implication of opportunities for myself and yourself, that some people are already using cassava as a case study to strengthen the rural family, emancipate the rural family for income generation, job opportunity, and stabilizing the polity. Another major critical point now is that in America, as a gluten flour product for export, that enough of our talk, let us think of establishing our own country homes. Bread, it also goes into chicken, and there are so many facilities for possible trainings for all of us to be part of. Now, the last point on cassava is garri. Quite a lot of people are trying to promote garri. In fact, garri can give you nothing less than close to $2.5 billion worth investment. If we actually tap into the West Coast and all the diaspora markets, and even our shopping malls in the country within the major cities. And it's an area where I need to let you know that if we want to go into the cassava product processing and value addition, as I've said, we need to actually come together. But there's a critical challenge there. The challenge is the supply of fresh fruit, quality fresh fruit. This quality fresh fruit is also being impeded because of our practices that we are planting stems that are actually not viable. We are planting stems that are not viable. They are disease prone, and is a greater problem. And that's the essence of my new interventions and projects that we are doing in IIT. We call it building an economically sustainable seed system. Now we are transiting quality seed from cassava breeders and promoting early generation seed companies. We have only 2 in the country presently. Your society can actually float one, and it may not be for cassava alone, even for yam and even for maize. We have IITA Gold seed and we have Umu-Dike seed. In Tanzania, we have the Tari seed and Clean Organo seed. The next one is the commercial seed enterprise. All of us can key into that, where you will cultivate 5 hectares, 10 hectares of seeds and begin to sell the seeds to the root farmers. It has implication because at present globally, if we are able to do this, we will be producing 20-30 tons of cassava roots in all agroecological zones in our rural environment. And immediately you do this, you give more opportunity for the youth in that environment to have more opportunity to make money and also job opportunity. We have different components for our project, but it's more or less an integrated approach. I'm a National Seed Council now in Abuja for another training on virus diagnosis for yam and cassava, and it's component 5 of this project. And if you do it very well, if you are interested, we can work with your society to make sure that you establish either early generation seed at the rural environment or commercial seed. What I'm saying is that as professionals, we do not have money. If we have money, I know Professor Kolawole Adebayo has demonstrated quite a lot of rural opportunities for himself and for people that surround him. I know Professor Adewale is also there, and everybody. The Future of Landmark is also doing so. That's the only we can do within our own country. But at professional level, we need to begin to think of how best can we create our own microcosm environment to be able to use cassava as a case study, provide all other opportunities for the youth in that environment, for the rural people, the women, old ones. If we are in the rural environment, we will be urged to actually improve the health services. Definitely, I know that we want to improve the road that will take us to that environment, and we will provide renewable energy for the environment. Emancipating the rural family in the contemporary Nigeria of today, where our leaders have become self-centered, requires all of us to think out of the box. Thank you very much.
We want to appreciate every one of us for paying rapt attention to that keynote speech from our keynote speaker. Actually, it wasn't. We should have been pre-informed before the keynote speaker came on board. But at the moment, we want to have a slight modification to the program. My editor-in-chief, sir, I wouldn't know if we have Professor Ogunlade. All right. So, all right, sir. So I wouldn't know. We are actually in Q&A session, questions and answers session. So we wouldn't know if we have anyone who has questions arising from the keynote speech just presented by the keynote speaker. Now, for those who are online, it will interest us to know that we have well over 40 participants online, cutting across various universities across the nation, professors and doctors from all various walks of life. So, but we have equally informed them, and the secretariat subcommittee is fully in charge to harness their questions and answers. But while we get their questions in, I wouldn't know if we have anyone currently on ground who has any question for the keynote speaker who just presented. Can we just signify? All right, Mr. Ibe, please can you enable them? Oh, Professor Fasorotin also has a question. Can we have those online first? Mr. Ibe, please kindly enable those online to ask their questions. Thank you.
Can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
Yes. Good morning, everybody. Indeed, it's a great opportunity for us to be here today, both online and physical. I appreciate all the executive and everyone over there and those online. I'm very happy to be here. And I want to appreciate the keynote presenter for the insightful presentation, well detailed. But the problem we keep on having in the rural area as regards to the farmers, cultivating cassava, they are becoming tired because they don't easily have a takeoff. People that can take the cassava from them. So most times they have their cassava, on the farm spoiling because they don't have markets. They don't have access to market. So I think we should now start considering on how to take off from them. Many of them are into cooperative quite all right, but then they still have that problem of access to the market, and the market we are talking of, is the export market. So I think we have to consider that. Thank you very much.
All right. I want to believe that our keynote speaker is still on and is taking note of those questions. We have a question here online coming from Mrs. Bamigboye Oluwaseun from the Federal University of Oye, Ekiti. He said, sir, there are several varieties of cassava, but which is the best for flour production? Yes, my editor-in-chief said that we have two persons signifying online to ask questions. Can we have the second person also? Yes. So, Mr. Dele, Professor
Dele Tologbonshe, are you hearing me? Hello?
Yes.
Hello?
We're hearing.
Yes, this is okay, thank you. Professor Dele Tologbonshe from ABU Zaria, and a live member of RUSAN, live member, and of course the acting president of MIFAS. Good morning, everybody. I'm so happy to know that this is actually taking place and it's for real, despite the COVID-19, or do you say hunger 20, as the VC said. I want to appreciate the speaker. Actually, I'm impressed with this presentation. But I just want to add, I didn't know, maybe I didn't get him correctly. He was talking of cassava plantings not viable. Is it that they're not viable, or they don't have the real potential expected? Because they still plant them, they still produce. Maybe I didn't get them. I didn't get them clearly. Then the other aspect I was trying to get is that this issue of cassava, you will notice that almost every 4 years, thereabout, there's always a glut, whereby farmers we just cannot sell the cassava. I was a victim one of the years. Previously, I will plant cassava, and the women will come to my house to even come and lobby to buy the cassava, harvest for me, and then give me already the cuttings, and then they will pay me. They will harvest it on my behalf. But as a year, nobody came. The farmers didn't come, market women didn't come, and I was to go and harvest it. I would have paid more than how much I will sell it. And
sorry,
I had to
Professor
farm to rot it.
Professor Tologbonshe, please, with all due respect, I've been directed to inform you to a video for proper visibility. Thank you.
Hello? I didn't get you.
Please enable your video for proper visibility, sir.
Sorry. Hello? Are you? Can I come on? Then
go ahead, sir.
I was wondering the issue of this glut in the villages. I think one way could have been to have this cottage industry. They don't need to harvest and carry it to the town. But let us see how you can strategically place these cottage industries in the local environment in the rural areas. That might also be of help. So I don't know, maybe I didn't hear what you was saying, the keynote speaker, about the issue of planting materials not viable, or that they didn't meet their real potential. I'd like him to put in more light. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. We have 3 questions already asked. I wouldn't know. Okay, Professor Fasoranti has a question for our keynote speaker. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you so much. Very many times when we look at the woes and the negative things we are experiencing, we always blame these things on government. What can we do actually to cut away from the apron of government and be and look inwards and be able to make productions that government eventually would envy and will want to key into? I could see that there seems to be no strong linkage between the government, non-governmental organizations, and dispersed individuals when it comes to production in agriculture. And particularly, I saw the table that was displayed by the keynote address speaker, spoke about a starch industry in my village, Ayidiogbese. And I was just looking at the people who are in the place, how many people know of the existence of that place, how many people are actually supplying raw materials to this place, and so on and so forth. The idea is that there seem not to be sufficient enlightenment even to the rural people, and this gives a challenge to our extension workers also, because people do not know. I know people could become rich in that village if they knew how important that place is. So the rural farmers, particularly the small holders, are not really aware of these things. They are not enlightened about it. So I think there is a problem with synergy between the government, non-governmental organization, the individual holders, and all of these. If they work together, I believe we will be proud of agriculture as an alternative in making our economy to be better. So I don't know if the keynote address speaker will have anything to say about that. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, sir, for that question. We have Professor Bameke online. Bameke online for his questions, sir. All right. Okay. We have okay. That's Professor Tajuddin Bameke. Now he said, can we make a case for the re-establishment of government agencies such as the defunct Directorate for Food, Roads and Rural Infrastructure, DFRI? So, all right. Hope there are no more questions from participants on ground. All right. Thank you. So, keynote speaker, sir, Professor Lateef Soni, you have the floor, sir, to give answers to the questions, sir. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. I want to thank all the colleagues that have contributed. And we are very correct with our analysis. Number one, what are the varieties that could give best flour? At present, the key varieties that you are having in your environment are very good for high quality cassava flour. But the topmost of them is TME 419. TME 419 has the highest starch content, highest dry matter content, and conversion rate. All the large scale industries, they are buying more of TME 419 than all other. There's another one that is 30572 and another one 0508. So it depends on wherever you are. But if you are very close to us, we can also give you further one. We just name some of these varieties because some farmers pride. And if you look at farmers pride variety cassava, it's very good as food. So for flour, I will recommend TME 419 for you. Market and market penetration, intelligence support. Nigerian farmers and processors and traders have mastered informal market. Adebayo Osrenia Ide Chuma Eto, we worked on the marketing situation working with Durham University around 2003, and we traced the rural people, the way they were actually talking about market information on fufu to fufu market at Ifo, Gari in Edo State, and some other locations like that. At informal level, they have the best machinery for their marketing information. Where the distortion is actually coming is because of unnecessary government interferences, where government is promoting some of these commodities in terms of within their foreign policies, and they will stop along the line. For instance, 10% includes cassava flour in bread during Obasanjo era. Obasanjo left, Yar'Adua took over, he nosedived. By 2012, under Jonathan, when he appointed Dr. Akinwumi Adesina, the issue of high-quality cassava flour inclusion in bread came on board again. By 2014-2015, when Adesina left and Audu Ogbe came in, he was sleeping. He slept throughout. And that is the trend. So the government intrusion in the marketing growth is actually affecting the farmers and does not allow the processors that have invested to make money. So what do? We need what other players have done in other countries. In Singapore, in Brazil, Embrapa organized through the private sectors, and they have the market information system that is driven by the industries, supported by the industries, not by government. But unfortunately, again in Nigeria, Nigerians want everything free. In all the so-called industries I mentioned, I've never supported any one of us. They want you to do everything free for them, free of service. So that's why the market issue is becoming a mirage. The viability of steps is not contestable, sir. You are in Ogbese, I think that's Ondo State. If you monitor the cassava root and the yield per hectare, you find that the Ondo State is not delivering up to 15 ton per hectare average. In fact, I promoted it to that level. And the reason is that I come to your farm and uproot your stem. I plant it on my own farm. No good agri inputs, no good agricultural practices. Yes, cassava will survive, but it will give you whatever you have asked, put for the soil. It's do me and do you. God know the first for cassava. Go and attempt it and come for training on 6 steps with these systems, and you will see that you will get nothing less than 20, 25, 30 tons per hectare. So the combination of the right variety, quality variety is very important. Application of appropriate agri inputs is very important. When we say slash your farm and wait for 2 weeks, slash apply glyphosate and wait for 2 weeks, it has implication. It is to kill any available upcoming weeds. It is when your farm is very brownish that you can now continue deploying and then proceed into planting. But most of us are not doing so. So the viability is very correct with what I'm saying, and that is why today we are working with National Seed Council to also promote this awareness. Now, as to the cyclical nature of cassava, there's nothing you can do on that. What you need to do is to work out your scheduled supply chain systems. When we were in Brazil, they will operate between February and close by October. End of November, they are closing that factory. By December, they go. By January, 3rd week is when they are coming back. What are they doing between that November and January? They are doing marketing, distribution of all what they have produced. In the same way, so we know cassava, we want to be high at a point and be low. And the cyclical is coming because of the traditional markets. For the industrial sector, we recommend nothing less than 30-40% of your own farm. Thank God that COVID-19 actually is teaching us some lessons, especially the private sectors. When you cannot, the mobility became very, very, very difficult, and you cannot go to the farm. You cannot buy. People are buying now. Cassava in Kogi is 38,000 naira per ton 2 days ago. 38,000 naira per ton. The last point is the issue of what do we do, and that's why I zeroed my interventions within the professional group. NGO is very important now. Community-based development agencies is very important now. We all need to integrate and work together within that area and look at areas where we want to serve as model and demonstrate all this our talk. And I know that we can do it. Some of us have platform. We have the Clean Africa. It's an NGO and it's non-profit, but it could give you opportunity to leverage and demonstrate what you wish to do. So the point is, NGO is very important, but is to synergy with government is a lie. Government want to take the job, the sweat of NGO and rake money and say they have done it. I know some of our colleagues working with state government that everything we are doing, they are taking it as their own deliverables, and they are stealing money. So that is the difference between the advanced country and developing countries, and that's why some NGOs may not want to actually work with government officials. But we have credible NGOs. Justice Peace Development Mission is there, or movement, and the commission, the two of them. They are also credible. Thank you very much.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, our keynote speaker, in person of Professor Lateef Sani, for doing justice to those questions. I think we'll take one more question from Dr. Ayodiji online, and he has asked, he said, how can we collaborate with you, sir, on seed multiplication? Professor Sani, please, you have the floor again. Thank you.
We are available, so if it is as a group, please just write to us, and I'm giving you my email ed.sonia@cgir.org, or you can also send to godwin.j.asa@cgir.org and copy the Alfred Dixon, a.dixon@cgir.org. So if it is a group, it will be good for us to work, do the training within the group. That will reduce our time, and also we conserve the energy to be able to service other regions. Thank you very much.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you, sir. It is sufficient to say that the Zoom platform is being aired globally, and by that we mean on the YouTube platform, and whatever thing is being said, especially online, is globally heard. So, and I want to believe that we all understand what that means, both for our participants, our speakers online and on ground. Thank you. Now, in the course of this ongoing opening ceremony, I want to say I have the singular honor to welcome my own it's a rare privilege. The shoe actually does not fit me. I would have called on my dean to do the introduction, but I have this rare and singular honor to welcome my own very dean of the School of Postgraduate Studies, in person of Professor Charity Aremu, in our midst. Thank you. You're welcome, man. So while we expect the lead presenter to fully come online for his presentation, for the lead paper presentation, we want to welcome another round of questions. Yes, I'm. We want to use the floor again to another round of questions, especially for our participants who are on ground. So I have the honor once again to welcome Professor Adebo for our question. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, the moderator. One of the things that baffles me about cassava production in Nigeria in recent times is the issue of these herdsmen. I have about 3 farmers that I had their case that planted about 4 hectares, about 4 hectares of cassava. They were almost at the maturing stage, and overnight the cattle just entered the farm and destroyed everything. The man almost had stroke because he used loan to establish the farm. There was another group also in Ado-Ekiti here that had cassava farm, and they had up to the tune of they spent up to about 10 million on that cassava farm. But you know, the cattle, the herdsmen destroyed the farm and they took it up legally, and at the end of the day they were paid just 2 million, and they have spent up to 10 million naira. These people they took loan to establish the farm, but all the farm were eaten by the herds, the cattle. So how do we go about all this? People are ready to farm, but the cattle are driving them away from the farm. So what do we do? How do we encourage our people to go to the farm when the ones that are ready, the cattle destroyed their farm? I think this is a thing that we need to really consider.
Thank you, Prof. Ma, for your question. For our secretariat subcommittee, we wouldn't know if we have any other question online from our participants. All right. So, while we expect Professor Ogunlade to come on board for his lead paper presentation, we want to once again welcome Professor Lateef Sani to... All right. Okay. Prof, please hold for a moment while we take another question from...
Thank you very much. The question I want to throw to Professor Sani and the team, Dr. Godwin Nata and others. The cassava weed management program, which we have been doing for the past 2 days. I'm Dr. Adisa from OAU, Department of Agri Extension and Rural Development. We have been partaker of the cassava transformation through African Cassava Initiative. Now, the program is about to end now, and there are still so many farmers that need information about the management of cassava feed. The 6 steps we are promoting is very encouraging and is very productive. How will that idea not die off at the time when the farmer are ready now to use the 6 steps which we have been promoting for the past 1 year? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prof. So finally, we won't be entertaining any further questions both online and on ground. So while we finally give the audience to Professor Lateef Sani for his response. Thank you. Professor Sani, we wouldn't know if you are still online with us. Please, you have 2 questions, outstanding questions. I would appreciate you do justice to them. Thank you. So I want... Yes. So we want to call up the president of RUSAN for a short closing remark. Thank you.
I think I can stand. So let me face the screen, so because of people who are watching across the globe. Well, Professor Tony, thank you for a very wonderful presentation, and to all that have made one comment on the other, I just want to make provide few information and what in this area our colleagues can look into in the nearest future. The major problem of our farmers in the rural areas, let's say the rural dwellers, we are not only talking about farmers here, we are talking of farm family. There are no farm family in the rural area that are not involved in cassava production. One of the problem is the price of cassava. So per kilo, there is no consistent farm gate price, and farmers are already contesting that, and that is why they are not ready to take any innovation that you are bringing to them. Also, as professionals, we have to go back to the rural areas and remobilize and resensitize these cassava farmers, because the cassava stems that has been transferred to them years back, they are not yielding the right weight that will make that job profitable, that profession profitable to them. 3, they are there is need to introduce what we call energy saving equipment to them because of labor. So in these areas we have to look at it. If we want, yes, cassava is very good in the country, we can use it to emancipate the rural families. So we need to go back and look into that, so that our farmers, the farm families, can see that apart from cassava giving them food, it can also give them, it can be a very good source of income for them. So, and also I like to inform my colleagues that also the federal government of Nigeria and the World Bank, they are under a new process called Economic Transformation Project, which they are looking at the value chain development system in another different way. It's not the value chain development project again, they are calling it value chain development farms, FIRMS. You will be the link, those farms will be the link between the farmers and the industries. So some states have been selected and they are in the process now. So it's something that in your university or your research institute or your NGO, you can key into as a farm, FIRM, Value Chain Development Fund, they call it VCDF. You are going to be the link between the industry and the farmers. And the support that the government is going to provide, you will be the one anchoring that support. But one key thing in that process is that before going to farm to produce cassava or any produce that the industry is needed, the farmers, they've already known the price. There is an agreed price that will not change. Not that the term, and you are not going to them with the usual term of off-takers. If you go to rural areas now, you talk about off-takers, they will say, "Want to today, they have come again." They won't listen to you, because what Professor Sonny is saying is truth. The past cassava projects, or not, let's leave cassava only, off-takers have cheated our farmers and they are not ready again. And that is why the federal government and international donors are looking at a way where they can bring our farmers back into a frame of mind where they can produce and make a good living from it. So the issue is price, the quality and the quantity, and is a platform that is being started now, and I would like us as professionals to key into it and to research into it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, President, for that very invaluable comment. I would want to immediately call up the Editor-in-Chief in person of Professor Kolawole Adebayo for the conditions for plenary sessions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, you would agree with me that it's been a wonderful session so far. Professor Charity, you're welcome, Dean of Postgraduate Studies. I've been looking for you since yesterday, but I'm glad that you are with us now. Thank you, ma'am. Now we will take a break. Unfortunately, the lead paper presenter is unable to join us, but I've reached out to him, Professor Ogunlade at Unilorin, that when he's ready, we will join him to any of the technical sessions that is on then. But now we will take a break to reconvene. Yes, to reconvene at 12:30. So all participants online, when we reconvene at 12:30, there are 5 concurrent sessions. Session 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D, and 1E. You will be expected to join the session where you seem most comfortable. But there are 3 categories of people that must necessarily be in every session. The chairman of the session will be there. The chairman of the various sessions have been allotted in the program. Those who are paper presenters are the second category. So if your paper is in a particular technical session, then you must necessarily be in that technical session. Then the third group is the rapporteur. In every technical session, there is a rapporteur. The job of the rapporteur is to take note of the various comments and discussions in the group, so that at the end of that technical session, the rapporteur will come out with a major point that can go into the communique. Please, when you do this, you transfer all your points that is meant for the communique and all the notes on each of the papers that have been presented to the managing editor, Dr. Taufik Yakini. Dr. Taufik Yakini is the one in dark blue cap here. So all of you who have submitted paper will have interacted with him at one time or the other, but our rapporteurs should make sure they send all those notes to him, which he will compile, so that Professor Fasonoti will help us to put it together into a communique for the closing session tomorrow. Now, if you are making a presentation in the technical session, you are expected to be live on Zoom to make your presentation. But we understand that we have some peculiarities in our country. You've listened to the keynote speech with electricity and internet, as well as infrastructure. So we note that some might have internet challenges, and that's why we've asked you to send pre-recorded presentations. If you're having those challenges, there is a co-host in every group who would help you to share their screen so that your presentation can be heard by the people in that session. For those who have not sent their pre-recorded presentation as at now, it's probably too late to do it now, but please, as much as possible, be online at your assigned time, because this is an online presentation. Everybody is in different locations trying to meet with the time. Once the technical session starts at 12:30, today the technical sessions will stop at 3:20. So in any group, the chairman should ensure that all the available presentations are made within that time limit, and please allow enough time for dialogue, for discussion. We have assigned a maximum number of paper for 10 minutes presentations, and we have allowed at least 30 minutes of group discussion in addition to that. So that should be enough for you to make the presentation. In some group, there are only 5 or 6 papers, so there is enough time for dialogue. Unless there are questions at this moment, this is the time to go stretch our leg and take another health break, so that we converge online at 12:30. And those of us who will be here can be at the basement. There are 5 different rooms where these concurrent sessions will take place. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We want to say a big thank you to everyone for the 2 sessions we have held. Now it's time for break, as has been announced. The session for this place is over now. We're moving to the Department of Agricultural Economics and Extension. The technical sessions will be held there, and the tea break will also be done immediately now. So let's move over there. The rest of the sessions will be at the department. Thank you very much.